Hey guys, welcome to this next YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about the reasons why you shouldn't have your ball position too far back in your stance when putting and how this can cause negative effects to your putting stroke and then your start line. Let's get into the video. So as you can see here, I've got a diagram to show you what happens when our ball position is too far back. So as you can see here, if I'm setting up with the leading edge of my putter in line with this orange stick, that's going to mean my leading edge of the putter is in the middle of the stance, which is going to mean my ball position is going to be in a good position. What we're talking about though is when our ball position is too far back. So you can see here, when I put the leading edge of the putter in line with the pink stick, okay, that then gets the ball more towards this area. This is generally too far back, and there's many negative effects to having our ball too far back in the stance. First negative being, generally speaking, when we have our ball position too far back, that's going to cause a little bit of shuffling, because if our hands are going to be in a neutral position but our club and ball is going to be too far back, that's going to cause too much shuffling, unless obviously we manipulate the face just like this and manipulate the shaft angle just like this. But generally speaking, this is what it's going to look like when players have their ball position too far back. And as you can see here, there's obviously quite a bit of shuffling that's being formed. This is going to mean that there's less loft on the putter. So generally speaking, when we have quite a lot of shuffling and we hit into the ball, with that increased shuffling and that negative loft, we're then going to be hitting down into the ball. We don't really want to be hitting down into the ball with our putter, because that's going to mean we're hitting the ball into the ground, which is going to make distance control really difficult and really inconsistent. Because when that ball hits into the ground, it's most likely going to bounce, and a lot of the power and the sting is going to be taken out of it, because we're not going to be launching optimally. So that's the first negative effect. When we have that ball position too far back, that's going to increase shaft lean, which is going to take away loft, which is going to affect strike and the roll of the ball. The next negative effect is when we have our ball position too far back, because our putter is actually away from us and more towards our trail leg, that's going to turn our shoulders more towards our trail leg also. So for a right-handed player, this is going to cause their shoulders to point to the right. Now, when our shoulder alignment's off, then obviously that's going to make alignment difficult, and alignment's probably the most important thing in your putting stroke, because if you're aligned wrong, then you're most likely going to miss the putt, unless you manipulate your path in any other way, which we don't want to be doing. Then obviously from there, if our shoulders are too open and pointing too much to the right for a right-handed player, then what that's going to cause is an in-to-out path, because we're going to be swinging generally across the line of our shoulders, and we don't want to be fighting against our shoulders. So when we're in this position here, we're going to be more persuaded to be swinging on an in-to-out path. Now in putting, we don't want to have massive paths into out or out swing, because we can't really save it. We can't really put spin on the ball, we can't draw the ball, and we can't fade the ball. So we've got to make sure that our path is as neutral as possible, as that's going to allow the face to also be as neutral as possible. So when we have that ball position too far back and we have that into out path, what that's generally going to cause is an open club face, because where the ball is quite far back in our arc, the natural arc is going to mean that the face isn't going to be squaring up until the center. So when we're making contact a little bit too far back in the arc, that's going to mean the face is open, which is going to cause that push. So you can see there straight away, just by having our ball too far back, we've got a negative angle of attack, we've got a negative launch, we've got an into-out path, and we've got our club face open, which is obviously going to cause a push. So straight away, just by having our ball too far back, we've got start line issues and distance control issues. So as you can see here, I've got a putt laid out, and I'm just going to explain to you further what having that ball position too far back does and demonstrate how it works. So again, where we've got that ball position too far back, obviously straight away I've got that negative angle of attack, I've got that negative shaft angle, which is going to obviously cause me to hit down into the ball and sort of affect launch. For these shorter putts, that may not be as necessary or important, so you may be able to get away with it. But from here straight away, when I have that ball position too far back, my alignment is already skewed off and to the right. So I'm going to have to aim left to try and compensate for that, which again, I don't want to be doing. So again, if I get back into a square position but have that ball position too far back, straight away I'm in a de-lofted state, which is pointing the face to the right. This is then opening my shoulders up, causing them to also point to the right. From here, unless I manipulate the path, I'm going to be persuaded to swing on more of an into-out path, which is going to cause that push. Whereas if I start moving myself into the correct position, you can see straight away when I get that leading edge of the putter in the middle of my stance, now my shaft angle is neutral, now my shoulders are square, and now I'm in a position to swing the putter on a neutral path, which is also going to keep that face nice and stable, allowing me to start the ball on line. So just by maneuvering the ball position, there's many different factors that can come in, and this can really affect not only your short putts, but then your long putts as well. So thank you for watching that next video on ball position. Hopefully now you can get out on the green and check your ball position, as you know now how important it is. If you can like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.